She's right there.
All loaded up.
Caitlin in a box. What's happening, Spooling Up squad? We are back for another episode, and like the title says, we are giving you a Project MS8 update, which is super exciting. I know we're all excited. We got Corey, Dom, rolling deep in the Jeep, mobbing, going to pick up the new transmission for the RX8. And with that, we're gonna be digging into what is actually happening with the car. And I know a lot of people have been asking, and I've kind of been tiptoeing around telling you guys what is actually going on, but I wanted to wait until some things were concreted and we figured out what was going on, because there's a lot of changes that have been made since the last time you guys heard anything going on with the car. So that's what the purpose of this video is today, is getting down to the details of the car. It is gonna be a lot of us talking and going over what we're gonna be doing with the car, showing you some parts, and yeah, we're just gonna dive right into it. So we're on our way about 20 minutes out to go get the transmission from the warehouse and fill you guys in. So we'll see you there. Do the whole crate, or you just want to is this box tied to the roof? Oh no, just covered. What seat? This seat can fold down? Yeah, I can put the whole thing down. Now we just have to move over to the other one. Yeah. That'll fit right in. Oh yeah. That should slide through. Huh? That should slide through. Yeah. I don't know. All right. Nope. You can just accept it, Corey. I don't know. Just find out. Shazam! Thank you, guys. What? You do. Yeah, appreciate it. She's right there. All loaded up. Caitlin in a box. Oh, you want to see it? Oh, no, we'll show you in a minute. Caitlin just chilling in the box. Oh God. Oh, dude. One of the key pieces to a monster in the making. Yes. Back to the house. All right, guys, so we're back to the house, and oh my goodness. Wait till you see what is in front of me right now. We got the trans for the Project MS8, and we went with a 6R80 out of the Mustang, and the 6R80 for the EcoBoost and the 5.0 are the exact same. The only difference is the bell housing made for the EcoBoost. And as you all know, that's a 2.3. The blocks are the same, you know, casting. So, ordered it up, got it here, and sitting in front of me is the built short block and the trans, you know, mocked up next to each other, and man, it is a sight. Wait till you guys see this. So here you go, our Speed Performance fully built motor. Just waiting on the head to come back from them, and we'll be able to start assembling the motor here real soon. And this is the trans. It's the 6R80 out of the Mustang. There's a lot of stuff that goes with just running this. Obviously, these are electronically controlled. So we have a company with a full standalone programmer that basically tunes the transmission for swaps like we're doing. So this trans has got like 30,000 miles on it. It was out of a wrecked car, and we had it shipped to us. So super excited. These transmissions hold up to 1,000 horsepower in stock form. There's actually cars running about 11 to 1,200 horsepower with a stock 6R80, and it just takes the beating. So we're not running anywhere close to that yet, but the cool thing is that upgrading the clutch packs in this transmission, basically building the transmission, only costs $600 for the parts. So definitely awesome to know, just in case we do burn them up in the future. But the block is here. We're just waiting on some more parts in the head and all that stuff so we can start getting this thing together, like I said. And then it's going down to the fabricators so that they can have the engine, the trans, and all that stuff to be able to start building all the mounts to mount it into the MS8. So definitely super pumped on that. And so now I'm just gonna get the block back into its plastic bag, back in the box, so we don't get any debris or anything in there. And maybe check out the trans a little bit more. And then we're gonna go in depth on what is actually getting done to the Project MS8. So we'll see you in a minute. I hope you guys enjoyed the peek at the new transmission and how it mates up to the motor. I think that's gonna be pretty badass. So the history behind these transmissions, this is actually the first transmission I thought about going with and kind of steered away from it because I didn't think it was gonna hold any power. But after finding out about the other trans that we're gonna use and how much it was gonna be to custom fabricate, like a bell housing to work and all that stuff, we just kind of went back to this, started doing some research, and found out that these things in stock form hold upwards of 1,000 horsepower. I mean, there's dudes that have ran 7.9s or 8-second passes with a stock trans. Now, with that being said, you can buy a upgraded clutch kit and billet intermediate shaft for under $1,000 for these things. So when the time comes, you know, it's not going to be a huge hit to upgrade the trans. So that's pretty cool. So the plan for the RX8, I know everybody's been waiting for it, and the last time you guys heard anything about it was we were sending it to the fab shop. They were going to do a 10-point chromoly cage for certified for 850s in the quarter. And that was just a long shot, thinking, in the future, right, we'd like to run that. But I had really no plans of what I was going to do for the rear end. And, I was just going to send it until it broke and then figure it out.
Pretty much.
But fab shop called me up and they were like, hey, what can we do to make this thing like super insane? And I was like, I don't know, you tell me. Because they are literally one-stop shop for like all race cars. I mean, they build full chassis cars. So what we ended up going with is they're basically going to take the back section of the frame of the car, cut it off, tube in the rear end with a Ford 9-inch rear, 4-link suspension, drag shocks, strange axles, brakes, literally everything. They're going to tie the 10-point cage into the rear end now. The rear end will literally be bulletproof. Like, it's going to have a full spool, center chunk, all that stuff in it already. So now, with that being said, they're going to be getting the motor and trans. We're just waiting on the cylinder head from Speed Performance, and that should be back here soon. Once I get that, I literally have to assemble the whole motor. So we'll be working hard on that to get it done. Basically pan to valve cover and get it ready to go. And then it's going down to Performance Design and Fabrication down in Tennessee, and they're gonna basically do all the mounting for the motor and the trans, get it all perfectly square level. I think the coolest thing is that while they're building this car and dialing in the suspension heights and everything, they're gonna be corner balancing the entire car. So he told me by the time we get it up and running and send this thing down the track, it should only need some minor adjustments, based on the load of the suspension and stuff, to go completely straight. I mean, easy. With a 4-link car, I don't know if anybody's ever seen a 4-link suspension setup, but it's insane. It literally just ties the rear end down and you're just going. So
it's literally your what kind of tires you're using depends. I mean, that's what your traction depends on.
Right. And basically how the transmission's going to work. These are electronically controlled, like I was saying. We actually have someone that makes a full standalone tuning box that you can put these things on, and it allows you to do everything. I mean, trans brake, adjusting your shift points, you know, timing between shift points, like everything. You can literally dial in the transmission to whatever style racing you're doing. So that's pretty sweet. And the fact that it's versatile in that way, and then the fact that these transmissions just hold a ton of power. Another thing the Fab Shop's doing is they're putting a fuel cell in the rear, getting rid of all the stock fuel stuff underneath the car. Everything's going, obviously, to make room for the rear end. And they're building a fuel cell in the back, and then they're going to build a firewall off of that to be able to put the battery back there with the shutoff in the bumper and everything. The car, I mean, obviously will have a parachute mount, parachute. Like I told you, you guys had no idea like how serious we were getting with this thing. Like, I want to strap into this thing when it's done and send it for an 8-second pass. Like, I'm going for broke. I think the only thing that would fail is me pushing the motor further than it's built for.
Lifting the head, something.
Lifting the head, something. And at that point, we're going to have to go to a sleeve block and basically the same setup that's in it now, but have a sleeve motor and be capable to turn it up to over 1,000 and send it. So with that being said, it's going to be, we're going to have a really aggressive stall converter and spec it out with help from Justin at FREEKTUNE, figuring out what our launch points are going to be targeted towards, and how we're going to be able to spool the turbo up, you know, as quick as we can and get up on the two-step to leave the line as hard as we can. So another thing they're doing is once the motor and trans is mounted, we're sending them the turbo and the intake manifold, and they're going to mock those up. They're going to build a completely custom tubular manifold for the turbo, placing it in the general vicinity of the passenger side headlight, with a hood exit probably. We're working out the details on that. And then they're going to custom build a intercooler with supports for it in the front. Also building tabs for radiator, all that stuff. And they're going to custom fabricate all the cold side piping, which will be really short. Like it's literally going to be, it's going to be intercooler pretty much straight into the turbo inlet, and then just one pipe going up to the JMF manifold. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, the motor's sideways, the JMF elbow for the throttle body faces the back of the car. Well, they're going to cut the flange or cut the elbow on the JMF and actually turn it 180 degrees and TIG weld it back on so it faces forward. It's going to be super legit. So by the time we get this car back, we're literally just going to have to tie in the fuel, do the wiring, and tie up odds and ends. You know, there's a bunch of stuff that always happens at the end that you have to tie up. And then we're jumping on a dyno with Justin. And that's it. The tentative timeline right now is to have this car on a dyno. Probably, I would say by... Day? What's that?
Labor Day?
Yeah, I'd say probably around Labor Day is a good bet. Fab Shop's going to be getting after it. I need everybody to do me a favor and go down to the description and go over to the Performance Design and Fabrication page, their Instagram and stuff like that. Give them a follow. We need to bump their numbers up, and you guys will probably get in sneak peeks of the RX8 build Project MS8 on there, probably before you see it on the channel. We do have a camera down there that they are going to be periodically filming their progress on the car and sending me the files so that I can give you guys update videos along the way and just see the progress of how it evolves through the build. So yeah, when the car gets back here, it's pretty much going to be a full roller and have pretty much the whole driveline in it. I'm going to have them measure the drive shaft, or measure for the drive shaft, and I have a local drive shaft shop here that is going to be custom making a drive shaft for it. So by the time we get back here, throw the drive shaft in, tie up all the wiring, and be good to go. I am working with a part out company that is hooking me up huge. They're sending me the entire Gen 2, an entire Gen 2 Speed 3 engine harness, fuse block, ECU, under dash harness with the ignition harness, the key, and the instrument cluster. So we're going to be able to run a full Gen 2 wiring setup, but here's the thing. We are going to be stripping down the entire harness and depinning everything that has nothing to do with the motor and bare bones it down to each sensor that we actually need on the car and get rid of all the bulk of it, relume it, and basically get this thing to go. And I mean, there'll be some kinks in the way and we're ready for it. Got to wire in switches for like fans, all that other stuff. We'll get to that down the road. But we have a pretty concrete plan of timelines and how we're going to knock this thing out. The team of FREEKTUNE is ready to go. Justin is pumped to get his hands on this thing and try to set some records. And that's ultimately the goal. I mean, there should be no problem cutting 1.360 foots with this car at all, like consistently. Yeah. So wheel and tire setups will be determined once the rear end is in and we figure out the offsets and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna be super gnarly, and I'm pumped. It sucks that it's, you know, it's further out and you guys can't see it for longer. But like I said, we're gonna be getting videos and going from there. But oh my God, this thing is gonna haul ass.
It's gonna be disgusting. It's a full-on
race. This will be the first full-on race car, like legitimate race car that I've ever owned. Something like this to this extreme is not your everyday build. No one's done what I'm doing really ever with the setup that we're doing. I mean, people have swapped MZR style motors into them, but they were basically stock, not really running much power, just kind of janky. I've seen onesie twosies, but they weren't full DISI motors. So it'll be pretty legit. We're going to be running ID 2000s on the JMF. We got freshly cleaned and flow tested stock injectors. We're ready to send. So I hope you guys are as pumped for the car as I am. Trust me, there's going to be update videos coming where you can actually physically see the car and see what they're doing and follow the journey, because in the end, it's going to be completely worth it. If you guys are pumped about this, smash that like button because it definitely helps. Giveaway coming soon. Merchandise is in the process of being made, and that will launch probably in the next 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. We'll have a merch link below when we get it, and you guys can go cop yourself some Spooling Up Performance merch. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We got some other big things in the works too. I mean, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. It's crazy. But yeah, that's just really
find the time.
Yeah, see to find the time. It's busy. I mean, we all work day jobs, so it's like, you know, we're busy. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. But until next time, we will see you later. Peace.